Hello, Facebook Live. This is Alexandra from Olenko's Kitchen, and I have a special guest today, and Allegedly Dave. Hello.
Hi there. Nice to
And,
be here.
and we're going to be talking about his book. This is his awesome book that you can get it on Amazon, Owner's Workshop Manual, The Human Body. And we're going to be talking about juicy topics. So please share this information. And I know, I think 2 weeks ago I was interviewing Brother Sage, and I got a lot of questions about urine therapy. We're going to be talking about that too. So if you have any questions or comments, you can post them here. So hello, hello.
Hi there.
Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself first? To introduce
Okay.
yourself?
I'm known as Allegedly Dave. I guess just an ordinary bloke, but I've had this sort of really amazing journey for the last 15 years or so, searching into the truth. And one of the topics that I started looking into was health. And at the time, I was very, very ill. Obesely fat. I was something like what 285 pounds ish. I was chronically asthmatic. I had nerve damage in my foot, pain up the back of one leg, back problems, shoulder problems, the works. Oh yeah, and very, very high blood pressure as well. So everything the medical establishment was doing for me was making me worse. So I started looking for alternatives, and I found an alternative therapy that worked amazingly well. And after it healed me of everything that was wrong with me, I started looking into why it was working, and I came across so much more information about how the body works and what's really going on. And after about 8 years of research and playing around and testing stuff on myself, I ended up writing the book.
Yeah, the book is awesome. I just actually got it yesterday and I couldn't stop reading. I was like reading last night and in the morning. It's very funny. So I really recommend this will be a great present for somebody, for the holidays, or a lot of people have New Year's resolutions. Really check it out. It's very, very well written and very funny, very easy to read. So
Well,
yeah,
thank you.
it's a great book. By the way, I love your accent. You have such a nice voice. I'm really intrigued. Like I found you on YouTube, and I've been watching so many of your videos, and it's just I'm very intrigued. We're gonna be talking about your fast. We're gonna be talking about fruitarianism, breatharianism, and it's just I know for many of my viewers that's like what. So I know you're gonna be explaining that, but yeah, you're a very intriguing person.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Actually, my next video, which I was working on just before coming on here, is me doing a recipe to make vegan fish
Awesome.
out of a fruit called the soursop.
Yeah, that's
I just
love
came
that.
across it and it's amazing. So yeah, that's my next video. It's going
That
to be a big departure from everything else I've done.
that's definitely I'm gonna post it on my blog because I do a lot of my mainly what I do is about food, but I like to do those interviews with people like you to just open people's consciousness and awareness. Just a disclaimer: we're gonna be talking about a lot of medical stuff. We are not doctors. We're not medical professionals. So if you have any medical condition, just check out with your. It's up to you. This is for information and educational purposes only. But just I live in the States, so just to cover myself because I'm a health coach. So,
Hmm.
but anyway, so where shall we start? Aging. When we are told that we are aging the moment we are born, and we're gonna get old, and we're just gonna die one day. So how about that? What what do you think, and what's your perspective?
Right. Well, some of that is mistaking
Hmm.
maturing for aging. Yeah. Obviously, in our first few couple of decades or so, our body is maturing. Yeah, so it is changing quite rapidly, but then we get into this realm of what they call aging, and that does not really exist. Literally, it's a combination of accumulation of toxins, physical toxins, and accumulation of toxic thought. The accumulation of toxins is fairly easy to understand. As we start, eating food and wearing clothes that seep chemicals into us, breathe the poisoned air, drink the poisoned water, eat the poisoned foodstuffs, then we accumulate toxins, and our body has to work a lot harder. Our skin starts to accumulate toxins and inorganic minerals and stuff, and so it sags and starts looking old and wrinkly, and we're told that's not natural, normal. So as soon as you start detoxing yourself of these toxins and these inorganic minerals, then all of a sudden the signs of aging start disappearing. But the more pernicious thing is the toxic thought. And one of the things that we all really have to understand is that your brain literally has complete control over everything, every part of your body. Every aspect of your body, your brain has got complete control of it. Right now, it's breathing for you, it's growing your hair, it's operating your thyroid gland, it's doing everything, right? And you have a measure of conscious control over your brain. So let's take an automatic function like breathing. Yeah, we're talking right now, and you're not really taking it, very aware of what's going on with your breathing. Your brain is doing that automatically, but you can just override it just by going, okay, I'm going to hold my breath. Now you're overriding your brain's natural process to keep you breathing. And of course, if you just hold it for as long as you can, well, eventually you'll pass out and your brain's going to take over again. But what I'm saying is, just like you can stop your own breathing, right? You can, with a bit of concentration, you can slow down your heart or speed your heart up or anything. Literally, you can have control. Now, one thing this system does for us, it gets us concentrating on birthdays. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, if I said the age 80 to you, right now you have a picture in your head of what an 80-year-old looks like, okay? But not just a picture. You have a whole list of things that 80-year-old can and can't do, okay? And if you don't do anything about it, that's exactly what you're going to be like when you're 80. And so we have a picture, a whole dossier of every single age, yeah? Because we build up this whole dossier of, this arc of aging, yeah, in our heads by looking at the media, looking at people around us, and, our expectations of what, we think are going to happen. We build this dossier for every single age. And again, if you don't do anything about it, you're going to follow that pathway, to the end. So the thing is, again, it's all in your head. Mm-hmm. And if you decided to depart from that plan, then you can. I always direct people to look at a dance troupe in America. I think it's in Florida. It's called they're called the Palm Springs Follies. Yeah. Now this is a dance troupe that does. I think they dance like 8 times a week, and they have like 2-hour, sets and stuff, and they're quite extensive, extensive workout. But the interesting thing about these dancers is the youngest one is something like 62, and the oldest one is 87. Okay, and when you look at them, they look like they're in their 30s or late 20s, 30s. They're young, fit, and strong, and beautiful looking. Now, the only reason that they're not your regular 80-year-olds, is that they don't think of themselves as old women. they think of themselves as dancers. And to be a dancer, you have to be young, fit, and strong and pretty and everything. So that's the plan that they're following. Yeah, and you can match them up. And I do this in my video, in one of my talks. You match the picture of these women with pictures of women at the same age, in old age, old people's homes. Yeah, they're the same age. It's just a choice that they've made. They've made this choice to literally be old people. You don't have to do that. So one way you can bypass this idea of aging is literally redesign who you want to be. Okay, so spend some time, spend as long as you can doing this, designing a younger, fitter, stronger version of you. So whatever you have to do, however you express yourself, if you're a writer, then write a day in the life of this younger, fitter, stronger person. Yeah. If you're an artist, draw this person. If you're a photographer, collect pictures of what this person looks like, and define this person in absolute detail. And once you and include several things that this person does.
Oh, we lost you.
So once
you're back.
Sorry?
No, we lost you for a second, but you're back.
Oh, okay. Did you hear what I said then?
Like get pictures and.
All right, yeah. So get pictures, whatever you need to define.
I don't know
this person.
if Facebook kicked us out. Oh, hold on. I think.
And she said, "Well, how can I be this person?" So I said, "Okay, when you walk into a building and you're faced with the lift and the stairs, what would a young, fit person do?" Well, obviously take the stairs. I said, "Well, what do you do right now?" And she said, "Well, I take the lift." So I said, "Well, whenever you take the lift, you're telling your body that you're an old woman." And so your body eventually basically goes, "Hey, I notice you're not using your legs so much. I'm going to whittle them down since you're not using them." Right? But if you change the way you approached your life and you changed it to this younger, fitter, mindset, and you started going up those stairs, even if it took you like an hour to walk up those stairs, crawl up those stairs, yeah, well, first of all, it's going to get easier every time you do it. And your body's going to say, "Hey, I notice you're using your legs a bit more. I'm going to build them up for you since you're using them a bit more." So eventually, your body is going to start to match the picture you're holding in your head. And one of these days, while you're pretending or acting as this new person, you're going to look in the mirror and go, "That's her." Yeah. So that's literally how you can actually change the direction you're on, the pathway that you've been set on since you were a child.
Also, isn't this that our body changes every 7 years, like basically all our cells? So we basically 7 years old.
Yes, that's the point. There's no reason why you should get old, because every single cell is being replaced. By 7 years, they're all replaced. So you're not actually the same person you were 7 years ago. And the only reason you have things like scars is because you want them there. It's part of you. It's there to identify you. You can look at the scar and go, "Oh yeah, that was when I fell off my bike," or whatever. So you're going to keep regenerating it. And one of the proofs that that's the case is multiple personality disorder. So when somebody has a multiple personality disorder, and an alternate personality jumps in, well, scars will disappear. Cancer will disappear. All sorts of things. Even their eye color might change. Their vocal patterns will change. Yeah. And then this alternate personality gets submerged again, and then the scars will reappear, and cancer will reappear. It's literally something you are holding as part of you. If that's the case, then you can change it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Our body is self-healing, always working, to do the, to just help us thrive. And talking about aging, I take classes with Tao Porcelain. I don't know if you know who she is. She's the oldest yoga teacher in the world. She just turned 100 years old, and if you see all her poses that I cannot even do the poses. I mean, she's amazing, and she's just such an inspiration. And what she like eats like a bird, and what she does, she dances also. She does ballroom dancing, and she does yoga, and that's like her. She and like that's her life basically. Like she just loves traveling and teaching about yoga and dance, and she's just amazing. So, and if you look at her, you wouldn't believe that she's 100 years old.
Mm. Well, one of the key things there that you mentioned is that she doesn't eat very much,
No, she
and
doesn't.
that's part of the taking on physical toxins. The less you eat, the longer you live. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. Most of the people, if you actually got Hilton Hotema's book, Man's Higher Consciousness, he stresses that all the way through the book, that those people who live long lives are the ones who eat very, very little.
So
Yeah.
if we're talking about the book, here I have on the page, I don't know if they'll be able to see it, 71. So number, I think they won't be able to see it, but so we used to be Breatharians, yes. So can you explain this? Then we were liquidarians, fruitarians, vegetarians, carnivore, burn omnivore, and carnivore. So can you explain this a little bit?
Yeah, the last two were the two things I invented basically.
Oh, okay.
But
So okay.
yeah, in Hilton Hotema's book, he contends that we are all breatharians. That means we don't actually need to eat or drink. Now, the process that we build our bodies, we don't build our bodies with food. We use exactly the same process as trees, how they build themselves up. Trees do not pull in nutrients or something from the ground and build themselves up from those. Otherwise, all huge trees would live in a depression in the ground, taking all this stuff. But they don't. Literally, trees build themselves up by taking in cosmic radiation from the sun and turning it, condensing it into physical matter at whatever frequency is required. So, wood has a certain frequency, so literally it can condense light into wood. Yeah. Our bodies are more sophisticated than trees. We take in cosmic radiation and we condense that light down into muscle, bone, cells, whatever. Yeah. So we don't actually, we're not built of food, as I just said. We're not built of food. So one of the things you find when you start fasting is that after you get over the initial mental hurdle of not eating, and you get over whatever healing crisis you might experience, you find that you have way much more energy, and and you feel better and stronger and lighter. So yes, we're working under a misconception here, and Hilton Hotema basically says that we're all breatharians, right? But at one point we started to drink the water, and must have been a nice experience, drinking cold water, feeling that coldness go down us and stuff. So we started drinking the water. Our bodies had to adapt slightly to deal with this extra water that we were imbibing. Yeah, so in order to adapt to that water, our bodies had to lose some of its vitality and some of its longevity as well. Then we started eating fruit. Now our body had to adapt to us putting physical matter inside our bodies or through our bodies. So our body, again, had to adapt. It had to lose some of its vitality and lose some of its longevity. And at every stage, the next stage was eating vegetables, which is, again, not as good as eating fruit. Then our body had to deal with taking on, heavy, earthy substances. Okay, so our body had to adapt even more, and we lost more of our vitality and so on. And then right down to being carnivores, and that's the most dense. I guess the most dense food we could eat, and our bodies really had to adapt to that. So now our lifespans are down to, 100, 120 years at the most. Whereas Hilton, basically says that we should live around about 1,000 years, just as the patriarchs did in the Old Testament.
Exactly. And we eat mostly cooked food now, and processed food, and all these preservatives and GMO. So that's not even food. It's just like cardboard
That's why I added those two at the end. Yeah, one of them was burnt omnivore, right? So again, we're the only animal that burns our food first. So if we were taking an energy, from food, why would we burn off that energy first? But just so happens we don't get energy from food anyway. And the last stage I put on that was GM chemivore. So that's somebody who eats genetically modified foods and chemicals, and that's pretty much most people's diet in the world. Genetically modified organisms and chemicals. It's not food at all. So now our lifespans are way less than 120 now. Most of us are lucky if we make it to retirement. So yes, that's the plight we're in. We've been fooled. We've literally been fooled about how our bodies work. How long we're supposed to live, how our lives should be. 200 years ago, there were people over 100 working out in the fields with young men, and you wouldn't be able to tell which was which, because the centenarians were fit and strong and healthy in their hundreds, right? Now you get somebody who's in their hundreds, and they're confined to a chair, and they can barely move around. If they've got all their marbles, then that's even more rare. So we've been fooled about a lot of things in our lives, and fooled greatly about our own bodies.
And I want to talk a little bit about allopathic medicine. And most of these people, they will get medications on all these different conditions and diseases, which a lot of them were not even heard of like 100 years ago, because it's just comes with our culture. It comes with all this you will say advantages in our lives, like the food, the I don't know, aeroplanes, cars, we computers, we sitting down, we don't exercising, we eating all this junk, and we're just completely toxic. So what can we do? What did you do? Because you started the interview with that you were one time one of those people, and then you had an epiphany. And what happened? Can you tell us a little bit, like in details,
what the epiphany was? So
get ready, people.
Right. Well, I was at a festival, and there was a lady there called Sylvia Chandler, who we knew she was going to be talking about urine therapy. So me and my friends walked into her talk, like, tell us about drinking your piss, wee lady, and we were expecting that we were going to have a good old laugh about what she had to say. She started her talk, and we sat there open-mouthed, because what she was saying was amazing. And she had a friend with her, a guy I got to know later called Flo, and he used to have asthma. He had chronic asthma, and he was there trying to tell us about how he started urine therapy and his asthma disappeared. Now, when I heard his testimony, my ears pricked up, because I had chronic asthma, and his testimony was just amazing. So we knew, all five of us, we knew that we were all going to do it the next day. So that's what we did. We all started the next day. And to my knowledge, 8 years later, we're all still doing it. And we've all had our lives absolutely transformed. So for me, as I said, I had all those things wrong with me. I was on urine therapy for a year when I decided to do a urine fast for 30 days. So I was going to just drink urine, no food or water. I had a bit of a rocky start because I was still kind of a bit squeamish about the urine and stuff. And as soon as you do a fast, the urine changes, dramatically and gets very, very strong. So I was having like a mouthful of water and to kind of rinse my mouth, but only for the first few days.
So not even distilled water, nothing?
No, nothing.
Wow.
As I said, for the first few days, I had some of the freshly squeezed orange juice that I'd already had, and that was just to sort of wash out the taste. But after the first few days, nothing, just urine. And I was working in London at the time, so it was. I thought it was going to be a hard slog, but it actually wasn't. It's quite easy to do it. So that was a year into urine therapy. So I started the urine fast, and 4 days into that fast, everything just happened at once almost. I was out for a walk on day 4, and I had this urge to run. So I was still a big lad then, and I had pains in my foot and all that, and up my leg and the asthma. But I had this urge to run, and I ended up running for half a mile at full tilt. And I got to the end, and I was like, I can still breathe. What's going on? And I realised that the pain in my foot had gone. The nerve damage and the pain up the back of my leg had gone. So it was just amazing. So I stuck with the fast, and at the end of the 30 days, I'd lost all the weight. I'd gone from, I don't know, what would it be? It would have been about 285 pounds down to about 150, 160,
Wow.
something like that, in 30 days.
That's incredible.
I went in 7 belt notches in that time, and at the end of the 30-day urine fast, it was like I was a completely different person. So that I credit, a year and 30 days that I was absolutely healed of everything. So because of that, I started to research why it was working. What was the mechanism? How is my body responding to it? And so I basically came up with 4 things that you need to do to heal yourself of anything, because it's your body that does any healing. It's not pills, it's not potions, it's not medicines, it's not herbs, or it's not. Your body does the healing, yeah. And there's only one illness, just one illness. It's bad health, yeah. And you started with the allopathic method of medicine. Well, it's that method of medicine that creates all of these so-called diseases. All they do is they lump together symptoms, yeah, and if enough people have the same set of symptoms, they call that a disease, yeah, and then somebody comes up with a drug for it, yeah. There's no such thing. It's all different manifestations of bad health, and all you have to do is raise the body's health level of health, and all those symptoms go away. So, as I said, I came up with 4 things that you have to do to heal the body of anything. And okay, should I go through the 4 things?
Sure,
or?
and I'm sure people are gonna be wondering, like, okay, if they don't want to do the urine fast, can they do a different kind of fast, like juice fast or something like this, or you will recommend the urine fast and why, and then tell us the 4 things.
I would recommend the urine only because it's so multifunctional. It's not just because fasting and going on a juice fast. Well, fasting, all that really does is release energy. It liberates energy, and I'll go through the reasons why in a little while. But it releases energy for the body to use. A juice fast, well, the juice, if it's freshly squeezed juice, then it's mostly water. Yeah. So, and the water is distilled as well. So, what you're doing with a juice fast is just limiting the amount of toxins you're taking in. That's it, and you're liberating energy. When you're taking urine, the urine's doing a whole lot more than just liberating energy and and limiting the damage you're causing. It's actually it's packed with stem cells, so it will be repairing. It's got essentially the antidote of anything that's happening in your body. It's got the antidote for it. So yeah, urine is way more beneficial than doing juice fasts and whatever. But yeah, I'll go into that in a minute. So the 4 things. Right, the first thing comes under the heading of stop poisoning yourself. Okay, and that is by changing your diet. Right, so pretty much everything that you eat is toxic to some degree. Okay, so if you have the standard American diet, well, it's pretty much all toxins. So what I'm saying is, if you change your diet, then you limit the amount of toxins you're putting in your body. So it gives your body a chance to start making headway of raising your health level. So I get people to eat fruit. Yeah, if you can get organic fruit or fruit you've grown yourself, even better. But you do what you can do.
So
do the best
fruitarian,
you can do.
you promote fruitarian diet?
Yes, especially if you're trying to heal yourself of something.
So no vegetables? You think fruits are better?
No vegetables. Again, I refer back to Hilton Hotema's book and the levels of damage you do on certain things. And so the highest level is fruit. Yeah, well, the highest level is actually liquids, but next level down is fruit because it's mostly liquids. It's mostly water. So by eating fruit, you're just limiting the damage you're doing to your body. Okay. So yeah, I get people to eat. You can eat as much fruit as you like. A lot of people start balking at the idea of fruit because they've learned that, well, it's got sugar in it, and we shouldn't be eating sugar. Well, here's a newsflash: there is no sugar in fruit. Okay. The first thing people will say when I hear that is, but glucose and sucrose and fructose, But the thing is, they're just made up words. Yeah. Sugar is a highly refined, highly narcotic, highly addictive, drug, essentially. It doesn't appear anywhere in nature, right? You can't, stumble across a pile of sugar in nature. Yeah, it's something that's created, something that's artificial. Yeah. And the sweetness in fruit is not sugar. But they conflate it in our minds by creating these words like sucrose and fructose and glucose, and because they all sound the same. So we go, well, they kind of both taste sweet, and the words for them sound the same, so they must be the same. No, they're not. Yeah, there's nothing harmful, apart from the chemicals and pesticides that might be on them. There's nothing harmful in fruit. Okay.
I love fruits. Fruits are my favorite.
Sorry?
I love fruits.
Yeah.
Fruits are my favorite.
Yeah, me too. So there is, sugar is very harmful, and so you can't equate the two. The sweetness in fruit isn't harmful. Yeah, so get that out of your mind. Fruit doesn't have sugar in it. So yeah, that's number one. Stop poisoning yourself. Eat fruit. Okay. Number 2, is to give or get rid of the toxins already in your body. Okay, and that's where urine therapy and distilled water comes in. Distilled water. Well, one of the things the main thing it does is it latches on to inorganic minerals.
There it is.
And oh, excellent. Yeah, it latches onto inorganic minerals and basically washes them out of your body. And if you're drinking any other type of water, tap water, bottled water, spring water, well, they're loaded with minerals. And they're not these minerals that you think your body needs. Our bodies are made up of organic, living minerals. Yeah, the minerals in those sources of water are essentially rock and dirt. Okay, inorganic. Your body doesn't know what to do with them, so your body ends up depositing them all around your body. So when it gets into your joints, that's arthritis. Your joints literally turn to stone. Gets in your eyes, it's glaucoma and cataracts. It gets into your kidneys, it's kidney stones, gallbladder, gallstones. In your arteries, it's heart disease and strokes. It literally hardens your arteries, that's arterial sclerosis. It's a whole list of things. But distilled water dissolves inorganic minerals and washes them out of you. So you can literally get rid of arthritis just by drinking distilled water. So distilled water is great for getting rid of that type of toxin, the inorganic minerals. For pretty much everything else, your urine, drinking your urine, will basically stimulate your body to dump toxins. Yeah, it's drinking it. Literally, one of the things it does is start pushing toxins out of you. And the other half of urine therapy is literally washing in it, doing massages. Okay, your skin is the largest toxic eliminator of your body, and when you massage your urine into your skin, it literally pulls out toxins. Just like we've heard, if you get a jellyfish sting, you can literally wee on it and it pulls out the jellyfish toxin. Yeah, well, it pulls out all toxins. So when you do urine therapy, it's a kind of push-pull thing. Yeah, so it's both drinking it and massaging it over your body. So that will literally pull out all the poisons that's in your body. Number 3 is give your body the energy it needs to do the repair work. So that's where we use fasting. Now, every time you eat food, it takes something like 80% of your body's energy to digest or get rid of that food. So food doesn't give you energy. It literally robs the body of energy. And that, Christmas is, the pagan satanic festivals coming up. So everybody's going to be stuffing their faces with food. And, how do you feel once you've eaten all that food? Do you feel sort of all energized and lively, like you can run a marathon? No, you're more like, oh, can't move, literally, because now that you've eaten all this food, now your body is now taken up 90% of the body's energy to digest it, and now you've got hardly any energy to even move around. Yeah. So when you stop eating, your body starts using that extra energy that would have been used to digest food to repair itself. So that's why when you start doing a fast, you might start feeling ill or tired, or something might flare up. That's the healing crisis, because now the body's got all this extra energy. It starts channeling that energy into repair work. And while it's doing repair work, you're going to start feeling symptoms. So that's basically how it works. So yeah, that stage is to literally give your body the energy it needs to start repairing. The 4th thing is change the way you think, because as we were just talking about this off air, we're talking about Louise Hay's work and stuff. All in all disease starts in the mind, okay? And if you, whatever you've got, it started with a thought pattern. That thought pattern condensed into an emotion, which is just a mix of chemicals running around your body, and that mix of chemicals caused a physical problem in the world, in your body. So it's gone from a thought to a chemical to a physical response. So unless you deal with the thought pattern that created the so-called illness or disease, then it's going to hinder your healing. Or else, if it doesn't hinder your healing, it will re-trigger it later because you haven't dealt with it. So it's dealing with the actual thought pattern trigger, right, which is the last step. And you do that by, well, first of all, I'd get you to listen to your self-talk, that little voice in your head that's always chattering. Listen to what it's saying, because most of us have that voice chattering away. We don't listen to it. We don't hear it half the time, unless something comes up and we start following what it says. But most of the time, it's in there in the background, chattering away. But if you start listening to it, and you might start hearing what it's trying to tell you about yourself. It's usually negative. And if you listen to it long enough, you'll hear the theme, the thing that is trying to be negative to you about. And you can usually trace that back to an event that happened in your childhood, right? And that whole sequence of events that led to the thought pattern, that leads to this deep-seated emotion, is usually the cause of the illnesses you're suffering with today. So literally, I give a process to start dealing with that thought pattern. But I can go into detail if you want. But that's it. They're the four things.
We have some questions, and I have some questions too. Okay. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, because I truly believe that our bodies are always listening, every cell in our body, and is remembering everything, and is always trying to self-regulate, self-heal, and this self-criticism, negative judgment that we have many times from childhood. It's just going it's putting us down. It's very interesting when we listen to it. We can learn a lot from it. Somebody's asking here, how about master cleanse? Are you familiar with master cleanse? Then how about green leafy vegetables and mostly water? And then they saying that they've been drinking distilled water for 37 years. So that's really great. But can you comment on these questions?
Right. Well, I've heard of the master cleanse. I don't really know too much about it, and really,
it's lemonade. It's like lemon water with maple syrup. It's like lots of lemon with water and maple syrup, and you don't eat. You just drink that to detox.
Right. Well, again, my methodology, is very simple. It's not doing anything to the body. It's not doing anything that the body doesn't already know. It's literally just going along with your body. Urine might sound like a very big step for a lot of people, but once you get the mental hurdle out of your head, then it becomes very natural when you see what it does for you. Just a quick aside, this morning, I was. Last couple of days I've been sleeping on a very uncomfortable bed, and I woke up this morning and I had a really horrible twinge in my back, and I got up and I was moaning, oh, horrible twinge in my back. I went to the toilet and kind of remembered about the urine, and I was going for a wee, put my hand in it and then rubbed my back with it. And literally immediately, the moment my hand touched my back, the pain disappeared. The back pain that I was just moaning about for the last 5 minutes just literally disappeared. It's just so powerful. Once you start seeing things like that happen, and you're seeing the affinity your body has with the stuff, right? Then it's natural. Okay, so as I said, there's all these things out there, the cleanses and the detoxes, and eat this and drink that and inject yourself with this and whatever. No, I kind of go for the simple things, yeah, and this is it: water, your own urine, changing the way you think, and eating better, that's it. So good on you if you get results with this master cleanse thing. But I propose something just very, very simple.
We didn't talk about this, but urine is actually cleaner than distilled water, yes? And we are told that urine is dirty, that's disgusting, but actually it's the plasma from blood, correct?
Yes, it's all the good stuff that's going around in your bloodstream, being carried around the body. Yeah, it's just. I mean, I found out the other day that hospitals know about urine therapy. But they don't call it urine therapy. They call it plasma ultrafiltration.
Yeah, that's what they call it, huh?
Yeah, and I was helping this newborn baby that the hospital gave this baby MRSA and something called Menkes disease, and literally they sent this baby home to die. But I was kind of following what was going on in the hospital, and one of the last ditch things that they said they were going to use, and I don't think they actually did, was plasma ultrafiltrate. And I was saying, look, that's urine therapy. They should use it. They should, but they didn't apparently. So we simply got the baby home, put him on urine therapy, and the seizure stopped. He started relaxing, and anyway, that's another story. There was another question I forgot.
Yeah, it was about the vegetables, because you say fruitarian diet is the best. How about green leafy vegetables are mostly water? So they're saying, why can we not eat vegetables?
Well, when I get people, I put people on a plan. I do say that eat just fruit. As I said, it's because it's mostly water, and the physical stuff in the fruit is very, very easy for the body to digest without using much energy. Now, if you read Hilton Hotema's book, he goes into detail why vegetables are more harmful than fruit. And to be honest, I can never remember how he puts it, because he uses anachronistic words like chime and chile. And I never really got the concept, but you literally take on physical matter from the earthy substances in the vegetables.
I don't know, I didn't read the book, but I've heard like some people, I'm vegan, so people say like, yeah, but you eat vegetables, so you're hurting, you're killing the vegetable. But fruits are like the tree is giving the fruits, the tree is just dropping the fruit, so you're not hurting anything. When you put a beet, like when you pull the beet or carrot, that's it, that's the end of beet. But if you're eating fruits, it's like the fruit is gonna, the bush of the tree is gonna be giving the fruits, like for us with love.
It's designed. The fruit is designed to be taken. Yeah, I mean, most trees can't propagate without somebody eating the fruit and pooing out the seeds somewhere else. It's part of their design. Yeah, as you say, vegetables aren't designed for that. As soon as we grab it, they die. And a lot of them are the roots of the vegetable. They're designed to keep that vegetable alive. And half the time we literally have to cook that food, that vegetable, before we can eat it. I mean, the potato, you have to cook it. You can't eat it.
I love
you can't
potatoes.
Eat it raw. I know, but you can't eat it raw, because if you don't cook it enough, you get potato poisoning. Yeah.
Sweet potato you can.
No, yeah, you can, but what I'm saying is, again, it's dense, earthy stuff, and we do start taking on some of that, and it, again, gets deposited around and stuff like that. But what I do say to people when they start eating just fruit, I say, look, if you really, 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 really must have some variety, then have the very occasional light leafy green salad with watery vegetables like cucumber, you know, and so and avoid the dense earthy vegetables. So yes, I do say occasionally, very occasionally, have a light leafy green salad, but only for variety. But once you've been on fruit for a while, you know what? Your body kind of likes it, and eventually you don't want anything else, really.
As I said, I love fruits. I mean, I eat vegetables too, and I eat a lot of raw foods, but I love fruits. Like when you come to my house, I have like literally bowls and baskets of different fruits because I like them ripe. So I wait when they ripen, and so they taste good. And yeah, I just love fruits. Like fruits, and people are always saying, "Oh my God, how many fruits you eat?" I'm like, "Yes, I eat all these fruits." So, 'cause for me, it's like fruit is the best fast food. You just don't have, you know, you don't even have to wash it like a banana. You just peel it, and there's perfectly, you know, like ready to go.
Yeah, well, I actually like I like eating grapefruit, and part of my ritual is, and I mean, look here, I've just had a
Yeah,
grapefruit.
yeah, I love grapefruits too.
Part of my ritual is to peel it right down to the flesh, right down to the flesh, and it's, you know, it's like, it's almost like a meditation for me. I'm, you know, cutting it and peeling it right down, and just eating the nice sweet flesh in the middle. So yeah, and even when I was on when I'm trying to fast, grapefruit's great if you really feel like you have to eat something. Yeah, I'll get a grapefruit, peel it right down to the flesh, start chewing it until I get all the juice out of it, and then spit out the pulp. And literally one thing that comes from that is when you look at that pile of pulp afterwards, you realize that all that stuff is what your body is just trying to get rid of. It literally is just trying to break down to move it out of you. Yeah. So why are you eating it? You know, you got all the good stuff when you know, took all the juice out of it. So why are you know, giving your body all that extra work by putting this stuff in so your body can just get rid of it for no, you know, no other reason? Yeah. That's just something in my head. Sorry.
I'm just reading another comment. So this person said that the same thing happens on the master cleanse. Listen, this is like whatever works for you. We're doing this interview to just, you know, show you different perspectives, different ideas. You know, everybody's free to do whatever they want. If one thing works for you and you're feeling great, then keep doing it. But there are so many sick people. There are so many holidays that are here. People gonna be overeating, then they're gonna be sick, then they're gonna feel horrible, you know, they're gonna be in the bathroom, they're gonna be complaining, they're gonna be drinking, they're gonna be hangover. So it's just, you know, I do these interviews with different people to just open your mind and shows you different modalities and different healing, different perspectives on life, whatever works.
Yeah, well, the easiest thing to do if you ever suddenly get sick, the easiest thing to do is just stop eating. Just stop eating. Yeah. You'll find anyway that your body naturally tells you to stop eating. It's only when you start using your logical mind that's been programmed that will tell you, oh, well, you've got to eat something to keep your strength up, you know, and stories like that, which aren't true. Yeah. As I said, takes energy, doesn't give you. So if you follow what your body's telling you, and it's telling you, stop eating, right, then you'll find that you'll recover faster because, again, you've got more energy for the repair work. So, so yeah, just if you learn anything from tonight, you know, if you get sick, stop eating immediately and just stop eating for a day or two or three, and you'll find that you'll recover a lot quicker.
And rest, because what I know a lot of people do, like people get sick and then they take pills because they need to go to work or they need to go to school, and then they just suppressing the symptoms because they want to, you know, quick fix, and you're not feeling better. You just, your body is just, you know, maybe feeling pain, or you're not whatever feeling whatever is wrong with you, but it's like your body needs time to heal, and you give yourself permission to heal. And just, yeah, don't eat, like rest, sleep, go outside, for a walk, do some breathing exercises, but just, just chill.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head with the allopathic medicine system, because that's what it's all about. It's telling you the allopathic medical system is essentially, treat the symptoms, don't care about what caused it. Okay, and it used to be a valid form of medicine back in, back 100 years ago, back in, the 1900s. Okay, there were lots and lots of different types of medicine back then, and allopathic medicine was one of them. Right, so if you had problems with your back, you'd go to a chiropractor. If you had allergies, you might go to a homeopath or a naturopath. Right, but if you got knocked down by a bus, right, you'd go to an allopath. Yeah, the allopath would deal with the symptoms. So if you got knocked down by a bus, they would set your bones. They'll stop the bleeding. They'll stitch up the whatever needs stitching up, which nothing needs stitching up, but let's say. So they would deal with the symptoms. They wouldn't have to worry about the cause, because that's the bus. Yeah. So that worked very well. If you needed an allopath, you had physical trauma, right, you go to an allopath. What happened was that the Rockefeller family basically funded allopathic medicine, right, with millions and millions of dollars. Right? They created medical schools for allopathic medicine. They only paid out, their insurance companies only paid out for allopathic methods. They built hospitals that only treated allopathically. They literally just made one type of medicine, the only type of medicine, and drove all the others to like a lunatic fringe. Okay, so it's not there because it's the best way of dealing with things. It was there just because lots and lots of money was funneled into it. Yeah. So allopathic medicine is like taking your car to a garage because the engine warning lights come on, yeah, and the mechanic takes the bulb out. You can't see the warning light anymore, so you think the problem's gone away, so you start using your car like normal, and the problem, is still going on under the covers, and you don't know anything about it because the warning light's not coming on. And then eventually that it's going to break down completely, and that's what happens to the human body. We wonder why we get sicker and sicker and sicker when we go to the doctors. Yeah, we might get temporary relief from the symptoms, just like taking the bulb out. Yeah, but we get sicker and sicker, and we keep having to go to the doctors, and we get more symptoms, so we have to take more symptom suppressants, which cause more symptoms, so we have to take more symptom suppressants, and so on until dead. Yeah, and that's the medical system we've got, and that's why we've got to start taking responsibility for our own health. We've got to move away from this allopathic system, and I don't care if you don't listen to me. Go out and take responsibility for your own health and find another way, because the official way is killing you.
It is, and there are so many people sick and suffering, and it's just very sad. I mean, I work with children, and don't even get me started. Tell you like what they're eating for lunch. It's just horrific. I mean, like all these Coca-Cola. I mean, all this junk food, and they have vending machines and all these snacks. And sometimes I see them bringing apple or something, and they put it in the garbage, and they buying all this junky snacks because other kids are eating. Because again, it's like peer pressure. That's what we program to, because it's cool, because everybody else is doing. It's just how how these kids supposed to be, thinking and exploring, and it's just like when they're running on this junk.
Well, it's way more than peer pressure. I was at one point I'd stayed in where I live out in the woods and stuff. So literally all I see is green. Okay. And there was a period where I'd literally been at home, basically just doing my thing for like 2 months, and I didn't see anything, almost anything man-made I never saw. Then I walked into a supermarket and I had information overload. Yeah, all the colours, all the the shiny wrappers and the coloured labels and whatever. It was like information overload, and that's part of it. Children see bright colours and nicely sort of packets of
And they
things
put
and
toys and
big toys and like cartoon characters on it and whatever, and they just get pulled in, and it's like the television is pumping all this stuff out. It's great to have a Coke and that's all, and you're right. They're taking in all this stuff, and it's obvious that they can't immediately see what's going to happen to them. It only manifests like 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line. But whatever they're doing in their childhood, is going to come back to bite them, in their teens and their early 20s. And it's because you don't keel over straight away when you drink a Coke, that we think it's not harmful. But when you consider that they use Coca-Cola as pesticide in India, if you take Coca-Cola and put it down a really, really dirty toilet, it will clean that toilet up really nicely. You take Coca-Cola and put it on a rusty bumper, a fender on your car, right? It's going to come up really nicely. It's going to burn off that rust. Yeah. I mean, what is it doing to the insides of you? Yeah. It staggers me now that what people are putting in their bodies. So yeah, I'm sorry, that was a bit of a rant.
No, I know, but it's I was lucky. I never liked junk food, and I always liked fruits and vegetables, like since I was a child. So I guess I was always different. But that's like, that's.
Isn't that Polish culture though?
I don't know if it's a Polish culture. No, Polish people love a lot of meat. I mean, they love fruits and vegetables, but they love a lot of meat. But since I was a child, I didn't want to eat my friends because I saw what happened to my friend's chicken at my grandmother's farm, and I said I'm not eating meat. So as like when I was like 10 years old, I stopped eating meat. So I was like what do we call like pescatarian because I was still eating fish, and then I was a vegetarian, and then for the last like 9 years I'm vegan and I'm raw vegan. But so yeah, but like I just didn't want to eat meat. So and then I experimented with food because I needed to make like my own recipes without meat. So I guess that's how I began my foodie journey.
What's really funny about meat eaters is when you actually confront them with the reality of eating meat, they actually get disgusted. There's a like a candid camera prank that highlights it really, really poignantly. Now it's set in a supermarket, a meat counter, and they have a sample of this kind of pork dish, pork sort, little sampler. So people take a sample of it and say, yeah, I like that. I'll have a pound of it, right? So there's a stream of people sort of taking this sampler and going, yeah, I like that. Let me have a pound of that. So the guy goes, okay, and he's got this big machine, and he goes in the back and takes out a live piglet, puts it in the machine, and then starts churning it, and meat comes out. And all of a sudden, people just lose their minds and get horrified at the idea that this man is turning a piglet into the meat. That's literally confronting the person with the reality of what they're doing, and they don't like it. They literally, I mean, their natural reaction is, no, this is wrong. But it's because we've been removed so far from that reality. The cellophane wrapped slabs of meat, don't equate to a living being that was running around a farm at one point, or literally penned into a farm, most likely. But it's removed from that living being. And when you sort of suddenly confront people with that living being, and they literally lose their mind. So it tells you, it's against our nature to be eating these things, So yeah, I've literally added that into one of my talks because it was so powerful.
So when did you stop eating meat?
Well, not long after I started
Okay.
urine therapy, actually. I was a complete carnivore.
Okay.
In the beginning of 2011, complete carnivore. And I started urine therapy, and I don't remember exactly when it was, because it was one day I sat there and I realized I hadn't had beef, lamb, or chicken in something like 6 months, and I hadn't missed it. And I was still eating fish at the time, but it was just like, well, why? I haven't had that for about 6 months. I didn't miss it, so I had no urge to have it again. And then, like a month later, I thought, well, if I'm not eating all this meat, why am I still eating fish? I'm sure fish are animals too, you know. So I thought, well, I'm going to stop eating fish, and I did. And again, I didn't miss it. It's just something I just left. I left behind. And to this day, I mean, occasionally, and this was last year, I went past a fish restaurant, and you know how they pump out the smells out into their parking lot, so you go, oh, that's nice, and go. I smelled it. I thought, oh, that's a nice smell.
But But that's
But
what
I
it's
did that.
about, food addictions. And like we are, like something reminds us of childhood, like a grandmother made maybe this cake or this dish or our aunt or for this holiday. And that's what is many times triggers in food, that we
Hmm.
missing actually the whole atmosphere, or yeah, like the flavor, the smell. It's not maybe, yeah, I guess it's maybe like the taste too, but uh yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's the same with like freshly baked bread.
yeah.
We've all got like our own little fantasy that goes along with it, that smell. Um, and something I realized about bread and gluten. Yeah, when you look up what gluten, where that word comes from, it's quite obvious, really.
Glue.
It's glue.
I wrote
Yeah,
this about in my last cookbook. Yeah, I said glue. Yeah,
right. Well, what happens when you mix flour and water?
it becomes
What do you
glue.
get? It's wallpaper paste. Yeah. So if you get that wallpaper paste and you add egg to that wallpaper paste, what do you get?
Bread.
No, pasta.
Oh, pasta. Oh, yeah. But some people,
Paste
yeah,
pasta.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Like
what if
paste.
you take
You can make
that wall?
paper mache from like water and flour and put newspaper.
Yes, because it's
It's
it's, it's
glue.
wallpaper paste.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get wallpaper paste and you add an egg, you get pasta. So paste pasta.
Mhm.
So if you get wallpaper paste, add an egg to it, add milk and butter to it, you get pastry.
Mhm.
It's all in the words.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're eating glue. We're eating wallpaper paste. Yeah. Bread is literally wallpaper paste with an agent that makes it bubble up, and then they bake this wallpaper paste, and now you quite happily eat glue. And if you eat bread with meat, literally it glues the meat
Mhm.
to your digestive tract, so the meat sits there and rots up against your digestive system. um, and I can't get the picture out of my head of John Wayne, the actor.
Mhm.
When he died, he had this big belly. Well, when they autopsied him, they found something like 10 pounds of rotting meat inside him. I can never get that picture out of my head.
Yeah, because our
So yeah.
intestines are like what, 50 or 70 feet long. I mean, they're really long.
Hmm.
So all this stuff is stuck in us. And sorry, like my friend is trying to call me, but I have no, I can't talk to you. But yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, the food is just it's very addictive, and now in holiday season, so enjoy it. But then, when you're ready, then maybe you want to try detox or change your diet, maybe eat lighter, because not everybody's gonna just do what you did, like urine therapy and urine fast, because you were very brave. But yeah, I mean, some people may. Uh, So what else did I want to ask? I wanted to. Okay, new humans and new Earth. So there's a lot of people like you I found, especially like on YouTube, on social media, and Breatharianists. So you had some experience with just trying not eating and just living on the energy from the sun, from light. How was that?
Well, I actually started because I was reading Hilton Hotema's
Mm-hmm.
book, and I thought, you know what? And this was not long after my urine fast. I found that I would forget to eat. After that urine fast, I would literally go 8 days without eating and just go, oh, I haven't eaten for a while, and it's 8 days. Wow, okay. So I was wondering why it is I don't have this urge to eat so much now. And that's why I went back to Hilton Hotema's book, and he was saying, you don't need to eat, breatharian. So I started an experiment, um, which I guess you'd say was a failure, but I still count it as a kind of success because um, I intended to do it for an entire year, at least 6 months or some sort of really big number, um, and it took me uh, pretty much a year to prepare for it. So I went from being kind of vegetarian to raw vegan, then to fruitarian, then to liquidarian, and then I started the experiment. So it took me a year to kind of ease my way down into that state. Um, so I started the experiment, and I actually started documenting it on YouTube.
Yeah, I
And
saw few parts of them.
yeah, well, I think I only filmed three days of it, three
Mm-hmm.
particular days, because I thought I was going to do it for much longer, and I was going to spread it out a bit. Um, but uh, I can't remember what day it was. I actually met somebody, and she wanted to do the experiment with me. And she wasn't quite there yet. So I dropped back to raw vegan until she was going to catch up, and that was about day 60, and it never happened. She didn't catch up, and yeah, it didn't happen. But I did 60 days um, of the Breatharian experiment,
So you didn't
and
eat anything for 60 days, but
yeah, well, I had there were a couple of times where I had to eat something. Wasn't because I felt I needed to. It turns out that um, not only do you feel uncomfortable when people are eating around
mm-hmm.
you, but people around you feel uncomfortable when you're not eating.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was day 15. I was at my friend's house, my best friend, and every time it was lunchtime or mealtime, they would say, "Oh, come on, Dave, you've got to eat something. Eat this, eat this." And I'm like, "No, no, I'm not eating anything." So I went to sit in the other room while they were having their dinner, and they'd say, "No, Dave, come in here. Come on, sit down." And then they'd start again with, "Eat this, eat that." In the end, I had to say, "Okay, I'll eat some of this garlic bread." So I kind of nibbled on some garlic bread, and so there were a couple of occasions where I had some things, and I kind of noted that down when I did it. But apart from the one or two little slips of a little bit of garlic bread or whatever, no, nothing for 60 days. Definitely not a meal or anything like that.
But you were drinking
Um,
water?
uh, I started off not drinking anything,
Wow.
not eating or not drinking anything. But the problem was that I prepared for a whole year not to eat, but I didn't prepare not to drink. You know, dopey Dave. Um, so I started, and I got 10 days into it before I literally got seriously
Mm-hmm.
dehydrated. Now, if I'd actually prepared myself not to drink properly, um, I don't think that would have happened, but I didn't, so it did. Um, but that in itself was valuable information because it told me without any preparation, I could go 10 days without drinking anything, you know, and or 9 days without feeling any ill effects because I was actually noting down everything that was happening to me. And up until day 10, I was absolutely perfectly fine. In fact, more than fine, because in that 10 days that I wasn't putting anything down into my stomach, I had this amazing clarity of thought and intuition. I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and for 4 hours lie there and come up with all this information and make connections and all these amazing ideas were coming to me. So much so I had to have a notepad by my bed so I could write them down as they were coming to me. And as soon as I started to eat again, or not eat, as soon as I started drinking, I noticed that creative time that I had started to kind of go down a bit. So as soon as I started putting something down in my stomach, that creative power started to wane. That was, and it was only after all this that I realized, looking into the Old Testament, it tells you to fast and pray. Yeah, fast and pray. So it's like you get answers when you fast and ask ask questions. Yeah. So that's essentially what I was doing, fasting and praying. I didn't know. It was very powerful. But I did 60 days, and I count that still as a success, because I could have carried on. It was only for social reasons that I stopped. And I wanted to do it again, but I got caught up in all sorts of other things, so I've never gone back to it.
Awesome. I really think it's all what we are accustomed to, because like I've been like to Egypt and Jordan and Morocco, and when it's very hot on the desert, those are very hot countries, when people fast, and they were always very like surprised that we like Western people drink a lot of water, and we used to say, aren't you thirsty? Like it's so hot here, and we were drinking water, and they like, no. First of all, they drink, like in Morocco, they drink a lot of like mint tea, like hot tea. When it's hot, it actually makes them not so, but they don't drink a lot like we used to, drink, go to the bathroom, drink, go to the bathroom. But it's like, and then the fasting too, like it's so hot, and they don't I mean, we were so surprised, like how come they don't even drink water during the day? Like how can you fast? But I guess it's what you're accustomed to, like when you train your body you can do it, so we're just not used to that. It's exactly what you're saying. You can't just jump from like standard American diet to be Breatharian, because you're gonna die, like you're gonna end up in a hospital. So you have to really do it gradually.
Yeah. And you said it there, because you say you drink, go to the bathroom, drink, go to the bathroom, drink, go to... Well, that's telling you something, because your urine is excess. Yeah, it's excess water. Yeah, you have too much water in your system, and your body has to dump it overboard.
But we felt thirsty, so we were drinking water.
But this is the thing, we don't really, most of us have never actually experienced hunger and thirst, real hunger and thirst. But yeah,
I guess it's in our mind.
It's in our minds, and we're used to, having this sensation of maybe a dry mouth and having to drink something because we think we need it. And for the most part we do, because as you said, we're habituated to it. So, and just like drugs, you can't suddenly go cold turkey off of anything, because you will have withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, no, we live in societies, different cultures, but we are accustomed like eating, and food is such a big part of our culture. I mean, like basically our lives are surrounded, about food, like going for lunch. Like you said, it was very hard because we socialize, we go for lunch, we go to the bar, we have birthday parties, celebrations, holidays, and it's all about food, trying different food. Here in America, I mean, I live in New York, there's thousands of different restaurants. It's amazing. Go on Instagram, there's people posting pictures of the food. Now everybody's a foodie, so it's like it's very addictive, but it's very interesting. It's like a lot of people now are being a minimalist, So it's like you being a minimalist in with dieting and food. It's like when they, suddenly people like get rid of everything in their house, like their furniture, their clothes, but you're doing it like they're doing outside. You're doing more like inside. Very interesting.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the Breatharian Experiment
Hmm.
was nearly 5 years ago.
Hmm.
And in that time for me, I've spent a lot of my time out of my own environment and out of my own routine. So I travel around helping people for
Hmm.
nothing. So so sometimes I spend 2 months at a person's house, or 2 months here, a month here, whatever. I think last year or last 2 years I think I spent 2 or 3 months at home out of the whole 2 years. Um, so my routine's been messed up, and I end up eating, the way the people
Hmm.
who are hosting me eat. And because a lot of the time I'm not there to help them with their diet or whatever. So yeah, I put on weight as well since since the Breatharian experiment. And it's funny because I did a video of me speaking at a conference, and the only thing people would pick up on was, "Gosh, you put on weight," you know.
Yeah, we're so I mean,
Uh,
I don't think so, but I mean, I never met you in person, but we are so judgmental. So it's like, yeah, but yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, it is
I
what
know,
it is,
but
and we try. It's whatever life brings us, different experiences. But what I like about you, and that's what drawn me to your videos, is that you like to experiment, because I'm the same. I like to experiment. I like to try different things. I'm trying the urine therapy and distilled water for my allergies. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully I will not have the allergies. So if people want to learn more, can they contact you? Like, can you do coaching? Like, so you do this like what, over Skype, over internet? How they can find you if anybody's interested?
absolutely. Well, my website is www.allegedlydave.com. That's allegedlydave.com. Um, you can get hold of me on email, dave@allegedlydave.com, or you can, if you go onto my website, there's all the ways you can contact me. You've got my phone number on there. You've got my Facebook, or my email, my whatever, my YouTube channel. So yeah, feel free to just get in touch and have a chat. Um, on my business card, I have friend, helper, healer.
Yeah.
So number one is friend. So I treat everybody as a friend until they treat me as an enemy.
And you and
But
you and you do lots of talks, and you travel, and I hope one day you come back to New York so we can meet in person. That will be really fun. I want to ask you. I asked this to all my people that I interview. I have two questions. If like, what's your favorite thing to do when you're not fasting, experimenting, like your hobby that maybe people don't know about you? That's number one. And question number two, if you could meet anybody, like from the past, from future, a character from a movie, from a book, whatever, who would that be, like, for a day, and what would you do with them?
okay, what I kind of do for fun, I guess. I like making stuff.
Okay.
I love making stuff. Whether I make something out of cardboard, or I like I do carpentry, so I
Hmm.
make furniture.
Awesome.
I've got all these ideas for things to build. I've you know Artwork that's not just art, but furniture or electronics or whatever. I like putting things together. So yeah, I don't get an awful lot of free time these days, but when I do, you'll find me, making a free energy device, or building something or other. So yeah. Um, so who would I like to meet? I think there's only really one person I'd really like to meet, and that would be Muhammad Ali. Um, he's always been my hero, and I wish I'd been able to meet him, while he was still alive. But yeah,
And
it
what would
never
you do?
never happened. I'd get in a ring and spar with him
Okay.
and get my head pummeled in. But yeah, I'd like to go in a ring and just have fun with him, you know, and let him have fun with me, you know.
Okay.
You know, because that guy, watching him, especially with his early fights where he could stand right in front of somebody, you know, toe to toe, and that person throw punches at him, he'd just go, and no punch would land on him. You know, it was just amazing to watch. So he's always been a hero to me. So yeah, I'd love to meet him. You know, like at the end of Rocky 1, I think it was, or when, you know, Rocky and Apollo Creed get into the ring,
Mm-hmm.
you know, out, you know, away from all the cameras and everything, and they're just having a laugh, and that's what I'd like to do.
My cat, I think, wants to see you. I don't know if you can. Can you see him? Hi, Sushi. You want to say hi to Facebook? Hi. Can they see him? I don't know. Can you see him? He's
Yeah.
20 pounds Maine Coon. He loves food. Talking about food. His name is Sushi. Okay, Sushi. There's no room for you here. Oh boy.
Okay.
But anyway,
urine therapy.
yeah, I think he wanted. I think he wanted to say hi to you. But yeah, that's awesome. So let me see. Do people have any more questions? No, I don't see any new questions. Did we forget to? Shall we? What else would you like to add at the end? I think yeah, we've been going almost an hour and a half, so I don't want to make it like too long. But do you want to add something at the end that we forgot to touch?
Not really. I'll just say to people that you know, healing yourself is actually very, very simple. It's a simple thing. You know, you don't have to get all complicated about it. You just have to start getting in touch with your own body and letting your body get on with it. Do what it's trying to do, naturally trying to do, and that's keeping you in the, you know, the best possible health that you know, the circumstances will allow. So that's it. It's very, very simple.
Yeah, and here again, the Human Body Owner's Workshop Manual, great book. You can get it on Amazon or your website. It's great, you know, to give somebody as a gift. I really recommend. Very, very. I'm gonna write a nice review for you.
Thank you. If you know, I really appreciate it. I've been given lots and lots of really good reviews on it, and you know, a lot of people come back to me and said that they really liked it, and it's changed their lives. So I'm really pleased about it.
Yeah, it's great. Are you writing another book again soon? Any new projects in the future? Like what are you working on?
Yeah, I am working on a book, and yeah, sorry, yeah, I'm working on another book, but yeah, it's slow going because I've got so many other things going on.
Do you enjoy writing books?
Yes, I've got like 3 books on the go, and it's just that I just haven't got time to sit and concentrate on any of them, you know. So I've got like
it's a lot of work.
Half-written books. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But each one of them are, well, they're kind of controversial. I'm working on like called the Book of the Israelites and Jesus Exposed, 2 of those, and I did a video called Jesus Exposed, and it's ruffled a lot of feathers, and I'm writing a book, you know, and to put lots and lots more detail in it.
Interesting. So yeah, I can't wait when it's ready. Okay, I think yeah, it's almost time to the end because I know you've been talking for a long time and it's already an hour later where you are, so it's like what time is 8:30 here? But yeah, this was such a pleasure talking to you. So, can you tell everybody again what's your website and do you have a Facebook page too?
Yes, I do. I'm Dave Moor on Facebook, and that's Moor. And yeah, when you find it, you'll see me kind of dressed as Neo. You know, that's my little profile picture. Yeah, my website is www.allegedlydave.com. Still working on a website, but yeah, it's never going to be finished. And my YouTube channel is dmurphy25. And yeah, pretty much all my contact details are on my website. So feel free to get in touch.
Yeah, you have a lot of great videos on YouTube. That's how I found you. So, yeah, check it out, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Have a nice holiday season. If you want to find out more about raw food, visit my website olenkoskitchen.com, and I'll be interviewing more people in the future. So thank you so much for this
You're
interview.
welcome.
Have a good night. Okay, bye,
Right.
guys. Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Live, love, light, and fruits, as I say.
Mhm.
Let me see. How do I have like so many computers here. I think this is it.